So I have a list of some of these episodes I like to do research.
It's good. We're not just talking out of our ass.
Yeah. But there's a couple that I definitely think we need to name here in this episode that are really popular, right? Girl Scout cookies.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I think a lot of folks that are tuning into this have grown at one point, and unfortunately there are so many variations now. I grew it up before and I don't even think I got the real one. But Girl Scout cookies parents are Durban Poison crossed with OG Kush. Why it's popular: sweet, earthy aroma with a balanced euphoria and relaxation. And the one I got was from ILGM. And we all know ILGM, the white label, and they're kind of creating their own. And so who knows if they actually got the actual parents, the correct parents, and who was the breeder from ILG. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't grow their genetics anymore. This was many, many years ago. But, if you are looking to grow some of these popular genetics, such as Girl Scout cookies, for example, do your research and figure out who was the original breeder on it. Who's the original source? Because if you search on Seed Finder, you search Girl Scout cookies, for example, you can see a long list in all different breeders, right? Who was the first one to do it? Who's actually putting into work to find its parents and actually breed the correct Girl Scout cookies?
Well, and it's a similar thing where it's like, what was the parent you used to create that? Because it could be you grab the Durban Poison, you grab the OG, but it's not the ones. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody's replica, but it's Durban Poison, but it's not the exact one. You need those real parents. It's like having two brothers or sisters that are same parents, but they're just slightly different. That just is the way it is. I think you look at a Durban Poison, prime example, breeding Girl Scout cookies, you've got down to cherry pie. Cherry pie then will work down to something like a gelato. And they've all, it's traceable back where you can see, and then it's like, oh, well, these traits that I really like from this are with this for the flavor, but not for the growth at all. Or just for the growth, but not for the flavor. Now it's a whole new thing. If there were more people who were willing to be transparent, I feel, instead of hiding because in the commercial space especially, you want to be the next best thing. So if somebody's just saying, oh, this is just another Runts cross, now you're competing with a million Runts crosses. So they'll just say, oh, this is a particular cut of a random thing I got from a breeder, or we've had it for 20 years and Humboldt, it's the best. Well, it's probably a seed that's available everywhere. You just found a pheno you want to use. Girl Scout cookies is a prime example that I've had a million versions of Girl Scout cookies, and I could tell you right away when I consume it which one is real. Immediately. Just like, again, a Kush, a GMO, you get a GMO, I will let you know if that's GMO or not. Like, you just know. The taste is unmistakable. But now people don't even have that original reference to know what it's like. Like, no, this is Camos. It's like, no. Lies is what it is.
It's sad. It's really sad. I remember you remind me of a story with Envy Closet Med Grower. You guys met. We all hung out with him. He's a super cool dude. He's living in Vegas. He's a friend IRL in real life. And one time, this was probably back in 2018, 2017, where we were hanging out. And I had gotten Blue Dream from a dispenser. That's another one that's actually on my list here. The parents on that are Blueberry crossed with Haze. So, really super popular, smooth, uplifting high with a berry sweet flavor. Yeah. When he smoked mine, immediately he was like, this is not Blue Dream. He's like, I know Blue Dream. I've had cuts from the breeder on Blue Dream. This is not Blue Dream.
This ain't it.
So like when you're going to dispensaries and you're getting some of these things that are labeled as Blue Dream or Girl Scout cookies or gelato or whatever, you might not even be getting the actual thing. Not. It's sad. It's very sad.
That's unfortunate. Dude, because that's how we're losing things now. Because it's like we have the cut, but very traceable, but the information's lost because the breeder doesn't want to share it.
Well, and that's where you see in the commercial setting, somebody keeps up with the Joneses, they'll get a cut of a mislabeled genetic. And then now this is circulating to everybody as this is the original one. It's like, well, that's not the original person. You're giving credit to one that has nothing to do with it. Like, again, we talked about, and it's controversial, but like TGA with Miss Jill and with Subcool, are you getting exactly what he had? Some say no, there was a fire, he didn't have it. Others say that she's created her new versions and her own versions. Is it going to be what you remember as the flavor? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe this is the new standard of what it is. It's very common to see somebody put their version out, their interpretation of what this was. We'll take a hit of something and someone's like, I taste grape and candy and this and that. I'm like, I taste soil and gas and kush. You're like, oh man, I just cotton candy. How do you get that? It's different palettes, different interpretations of these IPs, so to speak. When you get bred down, like these original ones we're talking, there's 2 land races or 2 offsprings of land races that created them. Now it's this hybrid crossed with this hybrid, back crossed into this hybrid with this one. It's like, damn, well, now I've got 1,000 different variables. I might not be able to get what I'm looking for, you know? But how do we then, you want to just make another White Widow by taking those 2 same parents? Because they're not going to have a million phenotypes because there's the land races, you know? How do you then create the new thing without outbreeding further and further and further down the line, you know? It's tough. We only had 10 breeders then. That would be, if it was down to that, it'd be like we'd have 10 breeders because they have access to the originals. Otherwise, everything else is just watered down replicas.
And you also have to hope that there's no mix-ups that happen. So that happened to me with specifically Miss Jill. So I had purchased what I thought was Chernobyl, and I was growing it as Chernobyl, and I was making videos onto it and announcing to my audience, and I really didn't know that there was a mix-up that happened with it, and it was actually Queen Anne's Revenge.
Ooh.
So
it's dramatically different cultivar.
I was talking with Miss Jill over DMs. This was so many years ago now. And she had mentioned there's a mix-up, and she apologized and stuff like that. But like, that's huge, right? You think you're growing one thing, and you think you're using it for breeder project, and then they've come to find out it's something completely different. Like, that's just sad. You know?
Now the new norm for that particular cultivar is what you've put out there. And
Right.
somebody's like, no, this is legit Chernobyl, dude. I've got it from
It's
Mr.
just
Grow It.
So much misinformation can happen.
Let alone human error. Like
Right.
I can't even count how many times I've been popping beans and I forget to label one.
Oh,
And
and
then
then
I-
just go based on what you assume
then
it is from the smell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, I'll figure this out in flour.
Yep, dude. I did that with the GMO, or not the GMO, the Moby Dick and the Gorilla Glue, whatever it was. But I know the Moby Dick terp. So once it was finished, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is it. But the whole grow,
Not a clue.
I'm pointing it out in our updates on AC Infinity Show, pointing at the wrong one every time. I was like, that yellow beam run right there, that's that G for Gorilla Glue sucks. And I was like, oh no, it was the Moby Dick and it was fire. Shoot.
yeah. Right.
I just messed up on it. That was the one that was auto watered that the water wasn't getting to, so I was hand watering it. That was 100% on me.
Human
not the
error
genetics.
happens. Human error
But
happens.
if I
And that's a
mislabeled
mix-up.
that, took cuts, clones,
Yep.
whatever, like I used to do, give it to a buddy, they grow it out, they influence their circle to think this is what the original genetic is. Well, guess what? We just messed up the whole market via accident. It's not via somebody trying to
Malicious.
bogart it. And
Yep, not
it's
malicious.
like, this is the thing, is we're all consumers, stoners, and over time, stoner moments happen.
They do.
So if we get to the point where we lose the genetics, it's somebody who's probably 70 years old, who like an old school deadhead, been traveling, doing all this stuff, and it's like end of life, and they're like, "Oh, this was
That's not that.
because seeds are seeds are seeds. They all look the same. Cuts look the same. You know what I'm saying? It's only once it's older. So it's like some of these, unless you know what the original is, and how do you know? Unless you know the breeder. Blue Dream's a prime example. Me and P have said how we don't like it. I bet you we've always had the wrong one.
I've had other people say that what you're describing is not blue.
Yeah, I know. Like I'll hate on a
Straight up.
haze. I'll be like, this is real hazy. And like, no, it's not. Like, what do you? That's not a haze, brother. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I've always thought it was because my old plug told me this was a haze. It's literally just misinformation, and there's no way to know by looking at a video, by reading a forum, an article. You literally have to experience it.
And then there's the misinterpretation too. I grew one of the very first ones I ever grew was a cotton candy.
Oh yeah.
And there was the misinterpretation that it was going to be sweet. It was going to taste like cotton candy. But the reality is that it was sweet like candy and soft like cotton. So that was how it was. But I was thinking, here I'm growing this cotton candy. I'm going to have this cotton candy, but I didn't. So it's like, just misinterpretation of the effect versus the name. Because I'm trying to go off names these days. Like one of my favorites is green crack. Well, what is green crack? Well,
What does crack taste like?
Yeah. Well, let
I
me
know.
tell you. It's a skunk crossed with an Afghan. You know, Afghans in everything. And it's like once you hear, oh, green crack is a skunk and an Afghan?
Now it makes sense why it's funky
like,
and danky.
yeah, and
But then
so
you go
resinous.
get one. My first plant I ever grew that I loved, fell in love with, was green crack. Turns out it was Holy Grail Kush.
Mm.
Somebody just called it that. So for years, I was getting green crack and growing it, and it wasn't that particular flavor. And I'm like, what the hell, man? It was only one day. My former buddy's brother passed me the L, and I'm like, green crack. And he's like, no, this is DNA's Holy Grail Kush. I'm like, how? How for 10 years, 5 years, I've been searching, going through the totally wrong path. And then I buy one pack, find it. I'm like, okay. So misinformation, my brain has attributed a flavor that is not even connected to this cultivar until I get it. That was the Cinnamon cookies for me that hit way more Girl Scout cookies than the Girl Scout cookies that I was getting at the time. And I was like, this is the flavor. Why don't they have this? And it's like, oh, well, because this was just relabeled mids. That somebody called GSC when it's nothing to do with that. If you can't even trace back the lineage of these genetics unless you've tried it. It really is the case. Like, I can't just go based on the description, because that's like somebody saying something like, this will have an earthy, subtle flavor of XYZ. It's like, that's, again, their interpretation.
Yeah.
You know, they may taste it a little different, because when I taste it, it tastes more sweet. And now you're telling me the description is saying what I'm tasting is wrong. It really is an experience thing. All of us who are longtime consumers, we've tried, didn't even realize was what it was. Durban Poison is one that we've smoked so many times and didn't know, but it's been in the parents. This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.